dear students, this is Business Research Methods and Project Work course tutorial. And this tutorial is in continuation of earlier tutorial, that is item writing part 1. So this is item writing part 2. Till now, we have discussed various types of items and measurement that can be used for collecting data. I have covered discussion on two types of item already, that is, one is called open-ended item and the other is close-ended item. So in open-ended items, the responses of respondents are sought in narrative or in the words of respondent. In case of close-ended item or structured questions, the responses are sought through some specified categories of response that is already stated in the questionnaire. In last, I will show you through a model questionnaire. Now, open-ended questions, these are also known as unstructured questions, and close-ended questions are also known as structured questions. The close-ended questions, this can be again various types, say dichotomous, multiple responses, and scales. In dichotomous type, there are two categories of response already stated for the questions, and respondent need to choose the category which best describe the respondent. In multiple responses questions, there are more than two responses, and that's why it is called multiple responses. For example, in which profession you are in. So various professions like teaching, then medical, engineering, then say painting. Okay, so these types of categories are given. Since it increases more than two categories, it is called multiple response. Then skills. There may be some situations where it is not possible to collect the responses of respondents in the categories as we have already discussed, like dichotomous and multiple responses. So in that case, say the respondent's attitude need to be measured. So in that case, some attitudinal scales need to be developed, and that should be used for collecting the data relating to attitudes, perception of the people or respondents. So I will show you an example. Now, another type of item which is known as filter questions or filter items. Researcher can include filter items or questions so that those questions which are appropriate to a specific section of respondent can be brought to their notice easily and left the other irrelevant questions. In example, if you have availed internet banking, move to question 12, otherwise go to question 10. So the directions will be given, and those who are not availing internet banking, they need not answer that question 12, rather they should go to question 10, and those who are availing internet banking, they should directly move to question number 12. They should skip question number 10. So this is called filter item. So it reduces the time of the respondents. Then badly worded items. So these are some other items which need to be avoided by the researcher while writing items or while framing the items while constructing the tools of data collection. Now let's see what are badly worded items or questions. There are many badly worded items or questions. Say, item that contain technical language or jargon. For example, there is a question in the questionnaire. Do you prepare budget for monthly expenses of your household? Now that budget word, that may seems to be very complex for the respondent. That may. Now in that case, what the researcher can do? Researcher can replace the word with some ordinary words like, do you prepare or do you keep record of your monthly expenses or do you plan how will you spend in your next month? So in this type, the question may be asked, and through this, the researcher can avoid the use of jargon or technical language. Ambiguous item. An ambiguous question is one that contains more than one meaning and that can be interpreted differently by different respondents. For example, the question is, do you feel shy when you are in a group? Do you feel shy when you are in a group? Now, how you understood shyness may be different from how I understood shyness. So there should be some measurement scale, or there should be some other words or some aspects which need to be stated in the questionnaire, and on that rating or on that basis the shyness to be measured. So ambiguous item, this also need to be avoided. Vague item. Say, do you consume alcohol much? Do you consume alcohol much? Again, there is a problem in measurement. So how will you define much? The way you understood much may be different from how other person describe much. So this is a vague item. Leading questions to be avoided. Now, a leading question is one which by its contents, structure or wording leads a respondent to answer in a certain direction. Such questions are judgmental and lead respondents to answer either positively or negatively. Say, the researcher is stating in the questionnaire, unemployment is increasing, isn't it? So definitely the researcher will say yes. So this type of questions should be avoided while framing the questionnaire or while constructing the items. Then item with poor range indicators. So in example, in which age group you are in? Say 10 to 15, 15 to 20. Now the respondents, they may be confused if say there is a respondent who is in between, where to indicate his age, because this 15 is in the first category also, in the second category also. So a confusion will arise and this will again distort the data collection process. Then double-barreled item need to be avoided. A double-barrel question is a question within a question. Say, the question is, do you get angry and stressful? Now, angry and stressful, these are two different things. Now, since the two things are included in the same question, so it is called double-barrel question or double-barrel items. So, the suggested structure should be as, do you get angry in such and such situation, and do you get stressful in such and such situation? So there should be two questions for this. So this is a double barrel question or double barrel item, and this need to be avoided while item writing. Item having double negative also need to be avoided. Say for example, don't you think not having internet banking is a problem? See, automatically because of using double negative, the question become complex. Don't, this is one negative and other is not having. So this type of questions to be avoided while item writing. Then another matter that need consideration while item writing is sensitive questions or sensitive items, and those need to be formulated very tactfully. If those questions are very important for the subject matter of the study, the researcher cannot avoid those questions without asking, then the questions or the items need to be framed very tactfully. It need to be asked tactfully, then the responses will be given by the respondents. Now, what are sensitive questions? Now, some personal questions may appear to be sensitive. Like, if you ask, what is your monthly income? Some people may find it very, very intrusive because they may not like to disclose their financial matters. Then where you invest, or where you kept your profits. So this type of questions may, if asked directly, then they may feel very intrusive, and in that case the researcher should use some other indicators or apply some indirect manner. There are two opposite opinions regarding the manner to ask such questions. One is direct manner and other is indirect manner. So again, this will depend on the situation. As I told you, that there are some persons who may feel it very threatening or very intrusive, but others may not find it intrusive or sensitive. So depending on the respondent or depending on the situations, the way the questions need to be asked. Some ways of asking personal questions in indirect manner are, say, by showing drawings or cartoons, by asking respondents to complete a sentence, then by asking a respondent to sort cards containing statements. So short cards, that means there will be some tickets or where the statements or the information will be there, and the respondents need to choose the card which is where the information stated is best applied to the respondent. Then by using random devices. So we have already discussed while questionnaire designing was discussed by me. That time I told you that the order of the questions, how the questions are put in questionnaire, that also matter. If the sensitive questions or personal questions are asked in the beginning, then automatically the respondents may build a hesitation against the researcher or against the questioner, and therefore, so such type of sensitive or very personal questions to be placed in a random manner in the questionnaire or in the data collection tool. Then this is graphic item. So in graphic item, generally, you know in alternative to words, some other symbols are used for collecting data. Now see, this is an example. Was this email helpful? So to get the rating by the respondent, what the researcher can do, researcher can use these smiley faces. Now as you have noticed, the extreme left, this is very dissatisfactory sign, and in the extreme right it is very satisfactory sign, and in between there are some moderate and there are some neutral faces. So this is called graphic item. Now this type of item can be also used in a questionnaire or in data collection tool. Now there are many other considerations in item writing, but I'm going to conclude with discussion of these items. Some others say recall assistance. Like recall assistance, recall means how much the respondents can remember. Say the researcher is investigating on the diet or nutrition practices of people of a particular community or in village, then the researcher need to know how much protein they consume in a month or in a year or in daily basis. Now if the researcher asks the questions like how much protein you have consumed in or say how much milk you have consumed in last year, then it is not possible for the respondent to recall that much of information. So that time, what the researcher can do, the researcher can frame the question, say how much milk you have consumed in last week. So the earlier example I told 1 year, so that is not possible for people to recall, and people do not find it important to remember such type of information. So therefore, in this way, the questions can be framed. Then proper instructions. Now, proper instructions need to be given in questionnaire while item writing. Say, this is especially required in case of rating scale and ranking scale. Now, I will discuss rating scale and ranking scale in a tutorial, but here, for example, I am telling, say, the researcher is asking, please rate please rate the movie out of 10, highest for best experience and lowest for worst experience. Now, highest mark given is 10 or highest point given is 10 and lowest is 0. Now, sometimes 0 may not be given. Say some researcher may use the lowest 5 and highest 10. So, this instruction need to be properly stated in the questionnaire. Or some may ask to rate the questions in out of 100. So, this instruction need to be stated in the questionnaire while item writing. Then validity and reliability of item. So this is not part of our discussion. So just I am telling you that validity and reliability, whether the item or the questions that are asked in the questionnaire, whether they are capable to measure the required aspect or not. So that consideration is done through validity and reliability test. There are various tests, like you will heard Cronbach alpha, then many other that are applied for testing validity and reliability. Then graphic item that I have already discussed, and there are many other considerations, so you will come to know once you involve in the process of item writing. Now here I am going to give an example and will show a questionnaire. As in the beginning of part 1 of item writing, there I have discussed the process of item writing. There I told you that item writing, that is a logical process, and this process begins with problem identification or problem definition. And after problem identification and definition, the researcher need to set the research objectives, then frame research questions and research hypothesis, and this guide in item writing, because this define what are the information required to achieve the objectives of the study, and that guide or that give information on item writing. Now here say in the slide, the research objective is to find the attitude of women towards saving, then to find out the factors that influence their choice of different financial products. Now in financial institutions there are various saving options like saving deposits, current deposits, term deposits, recurring deposits, and many other investment schemes. Now here the research objective is to find the attitude of women towards saving. Then the second is to find out the factors that influence their choice of different financial products. So as I already told, various deposit product, there are various other investment product also and many other financial products, and those are made available by various financial institutions, say banking institution, then post office, then nowadays there are payment banks and various other institutions. Now what factors influence in the choice of those financial products? So these are the two research objectives. Then see, this research question, this need to be related, or these questions are actually arise from research objectives. Now this research question, you see, do women have interest in financial matters and take part in financial decision? Since here the objective is about finding the attitude of women towards saving, and therefore this question is framed. Do women have interest in financial matters and take part in financial decision? Then do women plan, if any, saving and investment to be made? Do women like to be independent in financial decision? Then what factors relating to the type of financial products are considered before selecting or purchasing? So this question is related to these objectives. Now, after framing the research questions, the next stage is finding the requirement of information. And as here in the example, this information need to be collected through primary data, and that's why for the researcher it is inevitable to frame the research question, to construct the research questions, or sorry, not the research question but the questions that are going to be asked to the respondent in questionnaire or through other tools of data collection like SIDL or various other method. Now in item writing, here you see you have a plan while selecting the type of saving and investment. Actually, this should be two questions. You have a plan while selecting the type of saving, and another question is you have a plan for selecting the type of investment. Now see, here there was a research question. Do women plan if any saving and investment to be made? And therefore this question is framed. You have a plan while selecting the type of saving and investment. So you means this question need to be stated in a questionnaire or in the SIDL. And therefore, since the researcher is going to ask or address the respondents, and that's why you is mentioned. And see, this question is not in interrogative form. This is like a statement. You have a plan while selecting, or you can put in interrogative form also. Do you have a plan while selecting the type of saving? And options given are yes or no. We have already discussed about dichotomous close-ended items. So this is a dichotomous close-ended item. Why? Because there are two categories of response, yes or no. Now say, besides yes or no, another option is given, say refuse to answer. That time it will become multiple response close-ended item. Now see the second question. Your final decision to purchase any saving and investment product is much influenced by the opinion of your spouse or family members. So there are response categories. I am not showing the response categories. Only since I am going to discuss the questions, I am showing you. Say your final decision. That means this question is supposed to ask to the women respondent, and it is asked to the women or the individual woman that whether she took decision herself or she take while taking the decision, her decision is influenced by information received from her family members or spouse. So this question is related to this research question. Do you like to be independent in financial decision? So this from this research question, this question arises. Then see the third question in item writing. Which of the following features you check for selecting from the alternative saving and investment avenue? Here again there should be two questions. Which of the following features you check for selecting from the alternative savings products? Now say there are response categories like interest rate, then the maturity period, then the reliability of the institution, then service of the institution. So this type of categories, categorical responses are given in the questions. Now these questions is related to this research question. What factors relating to the type of financial product are considered before selecting or purchasing? And this research question is related to this research objective, the second research objective, to find out the factors that influence your choice of different financial products. So here I have shown you the example. Now these are the sources from where I have collected the information that I have presented in the slides. Now I am going to show you a questionnaire that I have developed in my MPhil study, and so that you can have a good idea about item writing. Now say the questionnaire. So this is the tool of data collection, primary data collection, and here see this are various questions or the variables that are included in the questionnaire. Now, name, age, residence. So, these are this name, this is identification information. Then age, residence, these are classification information. So, we have discussed this in questionnaire designing. Now, here you notice in this question 4, educational qualification. That is, the respondents is asked about their educational qualification. Below class 10, HSLC, HSC, graduation, postgraduate, MPhil or PhD. So these are the categories given, and since the categories are given or response categories are given, this is called a close-ended item. But here you might have noticed that there is a category which is others. Now suppose there is a respondent who do not say, who already passed class 10, HSLC, below class 10, then HSLC, then HSC, graduation also taken, and after graduation the respondents pursued some vocational course. So in that case, where the person will tick, so these categories will not be applicable to the respondent. So here in the others, in this category, respondent can mention their educational qualification. So in practice, in a question, besides the categories or specified categories are stated, other option also need to be given depending on the type of questions. Then marital status. See, this is again a close-ended item. Unmarried, married, legally separated, widow. Now, I'm moving to questions that are related to the subject matter. So as I already mentioned, the study is related to purchase decision of financial products by women. Now respondents or the target population is women, adult women. Now here you see which of the following products you heard about and know. Heard about and know. I have discussed about double barrel questions. Now though there are two questions you heard about and you know, but see here while framing the questions I have given two columns. One, the tick need to be given if the person only have heard about the product, and if heard about and also know and understood the product, in that time the tick will be appear in both two column. So this need to be considered. As I told you, the financial products like saving account, recurring deposit, fixed deposit, monthly income certificate, public provident fund, NSC. Okay, so these are various financial products. Then please tick the appropriate box. So this is an instruction given to the respondent. See here some other types of questions like you have a plan while selecting the type of saving and investment. So this will be two questions I already told you. This type of questions, since this is a double barrel questions, this need to be avoided, and yes no categories are given, so this is a dichotomous close-ended questions. And then see, this is a scale item or scale question. What are the reasons for not having saving bank account? So this question is asked to the women respondent. What are the reasons for not having saving bank account? Ignore if you have saving account. Ignore if you have saving account. So this question you may consider as a filter question, because those who are having saving account, they did not give response to this question because this question is not applicable to them. Now, to whom this question is applicable, so how they need to give their response? See, the reasons for not having saving banks are already stated here in the table, but they need to find out which is applicable. In a situation, there may be a situation that for some respondent that 2 or 3 reasons may be applicable. And in this reason, they need to state their degree of agreement or disagreement. Now here another matter you need to notice that in this question the instruction is not given how to take this scale. So this should be also avoided. So what should be avoided? That means for the respondent, researcher must give proper instruction. So this is important for item writing. Say the first reason, nobody paid heed to this matter. Strongly agree, agree, uncertain, disagree, strongly disagree. Okay. Then procedural formalities regarding opening a saving bank account. So this may be sometimes a reason for not having a saving bank. So here the respondent need to indicate the degree of agreeness and disagree. So this is a scale item. Now these are also scale items. See, degree of resistance from spouse or family members preventing in making any saving and investment. So this is again a scale item. Now see this question number 18. What is the motive of your saving and investment? Rank according to preference. Now 1 for the most preferred and then so on. Then second for the second most preferred, 3 for the third most preferred. Now in this way rank should be allotted to these motives of saving and investment. Now see here you may understood that what is the motive of your saving and investment. This is a double barrel question, but here you notice the aspect that is going to be measured is motive. Now these motives, secured futures, purchasing any asset, to be rich, children future, tax exemption, additional income generation, this may be related to either saving or investment or both, and therefore this is put together here. Now this is the instruction given, rank according to preference, 1 for the most preferred and other things are not stated, so you need to complete it. And uh, in this way if the instructions are given, then you can say the item is framed properly or the question is framed properly and respondent do not find it difficult to answer the questions. Now here in this question number 18, see two categories are given. Though it is a close-ended questions, again an open category is also given there. Why? It is because sometimes you may not discover or you may not explore all the reason or all the motives for saving an investment. So in that time to explore some new information, you can give an open question also. Any other motive for saving an investment? So here the respondent will respond if there are more other motives besides the motive stated in the question. So here these are the things I have discussed relating to the questionnaire, and I have covered discussion on close-ended items, open-ended items, then close-ended dichotomous item, close-ended multiple response item, close-ended scale item, then filter questions also I have shown you, then how to give instructions in the questionnaire that I have shown you, and what type of things like double barrel questions to be avoided. So these are the things I have shown you regarding item writing. So here I am going to conclude my tutorial, and it's all about item writing. If you have more questions, you can post your questions in Google Classroom. Thank you.